Good, good day. You are thinking about yourself. It's very important what your internal language is and what you speak to yourself, because we will believe mostly what we are speaking to ourselves. Are you saying I have done well? Or are you saying I have not got what I should be getting? Are you saying I don't think I'll ever get to the place where I'll be happy with myself? So watch your internal language, because that becomes your external practice. Let me repeat it. Your internal language becomes your external practice. Though you may think others are putting you down, what you think about yourself will put you down much more than what others may do. So we are going to look at a young man who seemed to have been at the bottom of the ladder because he had 7 older brothers who were seemingly doing very well. And the 7 older brothers were from one mother, and this young man's father fathered him when he was in an old age, a great man in his township. But out of a war-widow relationship, this young fellow was born. And his name was David. And this is the description we hear of David when he was 17 years old. He had to look after himself. And the father had put him to look after the flock of sheep the father had, because all the other brothers were well employed in the king's army. That king went for those who were muscular, well made, and so on. David, the youngest, 8th in the family, was not like that. On top of it, he had a stepsister who was very vociferous and ruling the roost, so he felt very small all the time. And what his older brothers told him was, you'll be nobody, just be the nobody you were born to be. So in fact, he later he reminisced and said, even if my mother forgets me, even if my father has no future for me, but God was there for me. So there are 8 chords in his life that worked for him. He was also a great musician, so he made a harp for himself. In those days, the chords for the harp, believe it or not, were made by the intestinal wall of sheep, because intestinal wall made very strong, leathery, flexible, elastic kind of chords that were quite right for the harp or for any stringed instrument, because you will remember that there was no steel available at that time. So the first quality about him that is said is, he was the son of Yesse. So he was the son of a man who had done well and had a reputation in the country and in that area. When he was being introduced to the king of the time, they told him he's a son of Yesse. Also, he was from the township of Bethlehem, which was the largest town at that time, and it was always on enemy territory, so that people of Bethlehem knew that they have to be battle ready from their young days. And David's chosen instrument was a slingshot made out of leather, and he could aim it precisely. So when he was practicing, I like to illustrate it this way. He wanted to hit the target, shot a tree, the tallest branch, and so on. Finally, he got to the tallest tree of his area, the highest branch, the last twig, and the leaf there. Just 1-inch leaf, and he got it. With a slingshot aim, he got it. And that day he said, I got it. And he was 17 years old. Other thing he did to perfection was practicing his 8-chord harp. He was singing to an audience of 1, that must have been God, where he composed praise songs, composed music, composed words. Sheep were also listening, I suppose. So this was David, a very lonely life, but he decided, I am not alone, because God was his listener. He was in audience with God. He heard what God said, God heard what he said. How a completely, what shall I say, disenfranchised boy, where his father was not thinking of him as the one who would inherit the father's land and whatnot, because there were 7 older brothers. So This is how the description goes. The inheritance that came from a paternal line. Inheritance that came from a township like Bethlehem. Blessed as they are, I will bless you even more, God said. You are beginning to understand what I have for you that will surpass what your parents can give. Thank God for what parents can give, but God, our Heavenly Father, has more to give. And if you felt misunderstood by parents, if you were treated like the ugly duckling or the oddball out, still God has a great future, because sometimes people fight that they were not treated well. Some children may have ADHD, they may not be able to concentrate, and they may not do well in class. Whatever that is, God has class for you. Secondly, he is described as skillful. He did his best with his harp, and he did best with the slingshot, took aim. So right brain harpist, music, and left brain taking aim, he did both very well. You will receive skill of hand for many things: music, song, hospitality, patient touch, whatever. I give you to make a mark of excellence everywhere you go. People will go, see, and make recommendations about you to others. So it was a young man who recommended David to the king. When king was looking for a harpist, one who could play music, because king got demon possessed, a professional risk of being king. And the young man who knew David had this good quality of recommending his own brother, own friend to the king. And the young man said, there is a friend of mine I know. He's a fine musician. You will do well to have him. And gave a good description about him. So this is how David came to be known, because he had made associations and related to others well with his gift. So he was given a mark of excellence everywhere he went. People will see, and recommendations will come to you and take you to high places because you are skilled. Thirdly, because you kept association. And God brings you associations, dose of opportunity. This young man somehow had connected with David and recognized David's high quality, though David's own brothers didn't. So look for that God opportunity, look for that God connection, he will not fail. So he searched the heaven when he was born. I preserved him for you. I put words into the mouth of the doctor to preserve the child. Judgment was averted. Sometimes mothers may reject the baby and want to do an abortion, but God protects, God keeps. He was a champion before he was born. It was written into his God scope and God's script. I will remove every delay that has taunted you, and you will arise in double quick time. So take these words as words of instruction, word of how God will do for you. Because there seemed a delay, because nobody recognized him, though he had such great gifts till the age of 17. Even his father did not know. The future king was in the home. He did not know, but God knew. And God sent a prophet to anoint David to be the future king. I will remove every delay, that's what God promises. People will call you at the right time. Quickness of God's opportunity will mark you out, and they will wonder how you came up so quickly, because it was a God action. Fourthly, valor and being able to get others to the best place they have. So valor has this meaning, working with others, working for others, and getting the best place others ought to be getting, because you got the best place God gave you. So you are not only generous, you are efficient, and you have a knack to pick up the gift, the space, the platform, and the opportunity others need. You will be bold beyond what you think. Sometimes you might feel you had to be pulled forward, but your time has now come. You will move forward without any effort. That's what valor is also. You will pave the way to make others great as well, to come forward, because they'll see your example and receive the opportunity from your hand. How can they come forward unless you do? They will. So the propulsion you have forward makes room for many other less entitled, less abled, less opportunity people to come forward, because you make them the opportunity. The character number 5 is that you are bold in daring situation. The challenges are become your opportunities, and you believe that sufficient is the industry, the trouble, even the battle for the day, because with every challenge, God has adequate resources. That's how you will believe, and that's how you will experience. So you seize every opportunity. You seize every challenge. You don't flinch. You don't give up. You don't become lazy. You are industrious. And then God will help you in all what you do, sing, play, music. Even when you move, there are God anointings and God blessings waiting for you, and you will not be puffed up, because you know God promoted you. So at the end of your life journey, you will say, the man whom God appointed, man whom God anointed, man whom God promoted. So therefore you will always walk with a soft step, knowing that God brought you where you are. 6th additional quality you will get is prudent in speech. Not only you will be well able in languages, even to compose music and hymns, you will speak so well, and beyond your age, you will bring comfort and confidence to people who employ you. Prudent in speech, you will have right word at the right season. You know how to disarm the garrulous. You know how to disarm the boastful. Yes, so you will be confident. The word of grace will be with you, and people will like to have you around, because in every difficulty you have a word of grace, and you'll use it again and again. So angry people will get on with each other because you speak. Team members who are difficult will get to their work because you give them the right attitude. So that is also something that will make you great. The 7th chord, God gave David a handsome appearance. He was ruddy, cheerful. As you know, he was born very late in the life of his father, and maybe it was a sudden birth. They didn't expect a child, so the child was very beautiful. They had to take cognizance of the child because he was beautiful. God gave him that beauty, knowing that he will go through difficulty. There was charm, strength makes access. My presence goes with you, enhancing your presence, making doors open wide. People would take a second look at you and say, there is something about him, something about her. Believe this, that it's that thing, the God's favor that rests on you, God's grace that rests on you. Finally, it is said of David, the Lord is with you always, because he remembered his humble beginnings. God didn't have to put him down for pride. God always was able to lift him up because of his humility. May this be said of you, God was with him. So he went to the highest place in his land, became king. When that impossible despotic king died in a war, and he made room for many common people to get into the right places, and his little country Israel became one of the wealthiest in the world at that time, because David was so respected. And many bigger armies that came to get their country lost it all and had to pay tribute. Not that David went to war, but in a little country he had to protect his country, and God supplied him people, resources, strategies and ability. Will you trust God for your life? You may be in the corporate, you may be a dad or mom, or you may be just a 14-year-old or a 17-year-old like David, wondering what is there for you in life. There is this promise of God. If God be for us, who can be against us? My God shall supply all you need according to his riches in glory. So keep these promises in mind. God lifts up the humble, and he puts down the proud. So be always on the right side of God's hand, that he will lift you up. He will not have to put you down because of arrogance or being an oppressor, but because you are humble and you are helping the meek and the oppressed. He will lift you up. He will pick you up. Always be on the right side of God's hand. the side with which He picks you up and lifts you up. I am Dr. Lalith Mendis, and if you want any more clips on spirituality and science, please send me a WhatsApp. And if you want lectures on brain screen science, please send a WhatsApp to +94 74 211 5011. And if you want a costly consultation for your child, for a young fellow, for digitization, digital toxicity, or career, curriculum difficulties or character difficulties, please give a telephone call for a costly consultation to 077 151 2801. And we invite you to a Brookside meeting on Friday night, 7 p.m. 374 Leslie Ranagala Mamata, Boralla. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.